Hello, boys and girls. Well, Mr. Ash, shall we show off what the good people from eBay gave us today? Or rather, delivered to us. They didn't give it to us because these things cost money. But you're going to like what we're in for today. Now, you guys may have recalled the Kino Lorber sale that was around Christmas time. I wanted to get these items during that sale, but because Mr. Ash arrived on the scene, I had to be more responsible and I had to, pay for his, healthy kitten checkup and all that good stuff. Get him on a good wellness plan, because kittens are expensive, or at least at first, and then they become, pretty inexpensive after that. But anyway, this person that I bought these items from, he was selling all 6 of these items on eBay for a good deal. Now, one of these items I have already, and I'm going to sell it, but the rest of the deal was just too good to pass up because, these items, if you were to get them separately, would be more costly than they are once I, bought them together. Now, I mentioned the Kino Lorber sale because these items, they are all Kino Lorber Blu-rays, but they are all difficult to get out of the bubble wrap. They are all Clint Eastwood films, that's right. You may have recalled that these films came out kind of all at the same time, and there's a reason for that. It's because they are all Universal films, ones that he starred in for sure, if not directed, that all came out one after the other. Or not, no, they all got released on Blu-ray one after the other. Didn't necessarily come out one after the other, although many of them did. And a lot of these are ones that I've not seen, but I am trying to get my Clint Eastwood filmography beefed up, and this is the one I already have that I showed you, High Plains Drifter, so I'm going to set that aside. Not going to open it, even though it does seem like the top part of the plastic is open, but I haven't taken it out, obviously, because I just opened it in front of you. But anyway, yeah, these films are all ones that Universal put out, and they put them out originally, just as a Universal standard, editions, and they marketed them as like the Clint Eastwood westerns or the Clint Eastwood thrillers. There was like 3 westerns and 4 thrillers that they put out on like a big Clint Eastwood box set, and then they did separate box sets for the thrillers and the westerns, but then Kino Lorber got a hold of them, and they were able to put them out on their own, their own line. Now the top part of the plastic is torn off, so I guess I might as well take it out. But anyway, sorry about him. He's still rambunctious, but I already have High Plains Drifter, this edition with the slip. But I finally watched it with Mr. Ash, and I loved it. This was Clint Eastwood's second film that he directed. Took a lot of inspiration from Sergio Leone, and there were some little homages to Sergio Leone and to Don Siegel, who were his directorial mentors, from having worked with them on the Man with No Name trilogy and was it Escape from Alcatraz? Was that Don Siegel? I'm pretty sure it was, and I think didn't he also do the first Dirty Harry? But point is, he learned a lot from them, and this was, a Malpaso production, and it's so good because it really is like a vengeful spirit story on an allegorical level. Like, there's some debate about whether or not he's literally I don't think he's literally a vengeful spirit because he's he can physically interact with people. He eats, he drinks, he has sex, so he has all the human physical desires and needs of a human that's still alive, but on a allegorical level, he is most definitely a vengeful spirit. There's this town that he goes into, kind of standard Man with No Name territory, as far as the stranger wanders into town and immediately gets in trouble with the local toughs. But in this case, he's not really a hero like the Man with No Name was, albeit he was a rough and tumble hero with a lot of edges to him. This person, I wouldn't even call him a hero. He's just more like a force of nature. and more like, again, a force of bad karma, you might say, because he does a lot of cruel shit in this movie, up to and including rape, and it's a lot of stuff that you're like, that's no kind of hero, behavior. And I really don't think he's meant to be a hero. Not necessarily a villain either, because what he's doing, as horrible as it is, it's all kind of the negative karmic repercussions of what these townspeople kind of brought on themselves through their acts of injustice. So it's more so like, don't be surprised that someone would come along and do these things to you for having done all of these, horrible things to someone who didn't deserve it. So he's more like a force of nature. But that being said, it's a fantastic, Western fantastic, kind of sort of ghost story, kind of sort of vengeful spirit story on a metaphorical level. And I saw that and I loved it. Now, I'm trying to think. The only ones of these next ones that I have seen, the only other one I've seen is Play Misty for Me. And this was Clint Eastwood's first film that he directed, if I recall. Yeah, his first film that he directed. He had his own production company, Malpaso Productions, which still operates today. And these were all Universal ones, but if I recall, the Malpaso offices are on the Warner Brothers lot. And I believe he still has an exclusive deal with Warner Brothers, so they just want him to keep doing his thing, which he is Clint Eastwood, so how can you blame him? Because he's, one of the masters. But this was one that I remembered watching when I was a kid. Really great thriller. It's obviously very personal to Clint Eastwood because he plays, isn't he like a jazz DJ? Yeah, a popular radio disc jockey, and he's jazz specifically because, for those of you who don't know, Clint Eastwood, on top of being an actor, director, he also is a musician. He sometimes composed some songs for his films. Not necessarily like the full score, but he would, sometimes, but for sure, like a song, and provide vocals and stuff. Big fan of jazz, big fan of the Big Sur Carmel area of California, which is right by where I spent 5.5 years of my childhood, Monterey, California. At the time that I was a kid, Clint Eastwood was the mayor of Carmel by the Sea, that community, which is it's funny because it's a political position, but it is a nonpartisan one, so there's no political party or anything. But yeah, he was the mayor of Carmel, and this film is shot all around Monterey. You get to see Cannery Row, you get to see all these unbelievably beautiful places. It's Monterey, California's, as far as places I've physically been to and even lived, like there's no comparison. It's just one of the most beautiful places on earth. And this film, again, it's a thriller film, but it's like you will never find a better representation of that part of the world than this film. Maybe with the exception of Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca, which was also shot in the area. Yeah, so I mean, this one will always have kind of a personal connection with me, even though it was 1971 and I was there in Monterey from 97 to 2003, early 2003. But yeah, obviously it's a great representation of a very, very beautiful part of the world. And then what else do we have? We have Joe Kidd, which I've never seen, but again, I'm trying to watch more Clint Eastwood films, watch more westerns, and so why not, put the two of them together with a beautiful cover and a beautiful slipcover like that. I'm so glad that Kino Lorber, that they are putting out films with slipcovers, because if you look the difference between the slipcover spine and the more kind of standardized spine there, there's no comparison. And again, the discs themselves are very just, like, I'm glad that they have a standard, but it's a little, like, too standard in a way. And I do like that they do the reversible covers, too. But again, there's just nothing like those special slips to let you know that you're in for some seriously good stuff, And this film was directed by John Sturgis. What else do we have? We have the Iger sanction with the slip there. It's another one of the Clint Eastwood thrillers that I've not seen. Um, Clint Eastwood's just great in, well, whatever kind of movie, drama, western, thriller. I've not seen his comedy film Every Which Way But Loose, and Any Which Way You Can. I've not seen those, and I've not seen The Bridges of Madison County, which was his big, romance film with Meryl Streep. But I've heard nothing but great things. Um, yeah, I just whenever I watch a film that Clint Eastwood is in, especially one that he's directed too, it's like that you're getting the cinematic equivalent of fine wine. This product has been, quality graded and has been made with love and care, and it's not just fly by night bullshit. Um, I really like the fact that Clint Eastwood as a director, that he doesn't waste time, he doesn't overdo takes, and he doesn't do the standard like action, really loud or anything. And apparently it's The Beguiled there, another thriller. Apparently he does that because his experience on Rawhide, the TV show, whenever those very loud TV directors, whenever they yelled action, the horses would get spooked and would jostle people around on their horses, if not throw them off their horses. So Tom Hanks described it as him treating actors like horses, and not in the kind of Hitchcockian actors should be treated like cattle kind of way, but more so in the sense that he would start a take and be like, okay, go ahead, and just like silently or quietly say that, and then when it was done, he's like, okay, that's enough of that, and move on, after only a few takes, because again, he was like, you don't have to, do you really get better, doing take after take after take? It's like, and then Two Mules for Sister Sarah there, another Western, he's like, do you really get better take after take, or, are you going to get worse? And I think I've tried to really take after that, the idea being that you're probably not going to improve all that much. Now, there is something to be said for doing like a Harrison Ford, like, because he expressed a lot of frustration with George Lucas, saying that, part of the experience of acting, the process of it is finding something, and I can definitely sympathize. But then again, it's also like, well, you know, I tend to come from the philosophy of know what you want out of an actor, out of a scene, and go get it. You don't need to like needlessly waste time, because again, time is money in movies. Each roll of film, back when people shot on film and how expensive film could be, each roll of film costs a lot of money. Plus, like, everybody's time, everybody's, having the crew physically be there, having to rent the locations and all that. If you can minimize how much time you have to actually be there, wasting time, wasting money, know what you want, go get it. And I think the actors will thank you for it, because they'll know, and this is what Clint Eastwood said, that actors like it when the thing is moving, when they feel like there's motion to the whole film. Because, what's disheartening is when there's no movement, when people feel like this isn't going anywhere, this is like the fourth day we've been doing the same scene, all that stuff. And I can definitely sympathize. And it's just like, you don't need to keep beating your head against the wall, so many times, because it's like, is it really going to be that much better? And, as much as I love Stanley Kubrick, as much as he's my filmmaking hero, that's one notable place that I haven't really had the luxury of doing it the way that he did it, which was take after take, to try to find something that surprised him. And part of that was that he told Malcolm McDowell, he was like, I never know what I want, but I do know what I don't want. So he was trying to find it and trying to, like, chip away at it to try to find the surprise factor. And, I'm acting like, oh, as a filmmaker, I always know what I want, which, that's not true. Actors can bring something totally out of left field and can surprise you, and you want to leave yourself open to the accident or to whatever else they bring. But it's more so like, just if you know what you want going in and leave yourself open to whatever else you are given, then you've got it. Because otherwise you're just wasting people's time, wasting people's money, and who's to say that what you get is even all that good? Most of it's not even going to be used. So it's like, why bother? And so, like, good example with what Clint Eastwood would do is just not overdo it. Get what you need, and keep the thing moving. Deliver your movies on time and under budget, and you don't have to like necessarily waste all the money in the world, but you can still make something of quality. That's how I see it. That's how Clint seems to see it, and I think he's produced a lot of good work in front of and behind the camera. So if you like this, then please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Set phasers to stun, warp factor 5. Mr. Ash and I are going to have ourselves a fun evening, and I hope you do the same and continue to stay safe out there as the pandemic continues to rage and as our democracy continues to crumble before our very eyes.